In the cold detention room of the Galactic Council's ship, Mina sat alone. Her wrists hurt from the glowing blue restraints that kept her tied to the chair. Only yesterday, she had been a normal exchange student from Earth, excited to learn about alien cultures at Proxima Station. Now she was a prisoner waiting for trial. The door slid open with a soft hiss. Two tall guards entered, their skin a pale green that seemed to glow under the harsh lights. They didn't speak as they guided her. Down a long corridor, Mina tried to stay calm, but her heart raced in her chest. The trial chamber was massive. Hundreds of aliens from different worlds sat in rising seats that circled a central platform. Some had multiple eyes, others had scales or fur, and a few seemed made of living crystal. Mina had never felt so small or so human. Prisoner 7293, human female Mina Park, step forward, a mechanical voice announced. The guards pushed her gently toward the center of the room where a small raised platform waited. As she stepped onto it, a beam of light surrounded her. Mina squinted up at the high judge's seat where a large blue figure sat watching her. Judge Take of the Araxians was nearly 8 feet tall with 4 silver eyes set in a face that reminded Mina of carved blue stone. His long fingers tapped on the surface of his desk as he studied her. Human female. Judge Take's deep voice filled the room. You are charged with trespassing in restricted archives and attempting to access classified information about Earth-Araxian relations. How do you respond? Mina took a deep breath. I was doing research for my school project. The door was open. I didn't know it was forbidden. A small alien with translucent skin floated forward. Your Honor, I am Day, appointed defender for the human. My client is young by both human and council standards. She had permission to use the public archives but became lost. This was a simple mistake, not a crime. Judge Take's 4 eyes narrowed. The security feeds show her accessing terminals in Section 47B, attempting multiple searches about early Earth-Araxian contact records. This shows clear intent. I was curious, Mina said before Day could stop her. In our history books on Earth, there are stories about blue giants who visited ancient humans. I thought they might be Araxians, but I couldn't find any official records about contact before 60 years ago. The chamber erupted with whispers. Judge Tyke slammed his hand down and silence returned. Such stories are human fantasy, Judge Tyke said coldly. The first contact between our worlds occurred exactly 62 years ago, as all records clearly state. A tall woman with red robes stood from the audience section. Your Honor, I am Hana Kim, Earth Ambassador to the Council. I request that my government be notified about this trial immediately. Judge Take's skin darkened slightly. Ambassador Kim, this is a minor case involving a student who broke simple rules. There is no need to involve diplomatic channels. Any trial of a human minor requires Earth representation, Ambassador Kim insisted. It's in the treaty. Mina felt relief seeing another human face, but it was short-lived. Judge Tyke pressed a button, and a document appeared floating in the air. The student signed a waiver when entering the archive, placing herself under council jurisdiction, he said. The trial will proceed now. The questioning went on for hours. Mina tried to explain that she was just curious about history, not trying to steal secrets. Her legs ached from standing and her throat felt dry. They had taken her water bottle when they arrested her, and she hadn't had anything to eat or drink since the morning before. As Judge Tyke read a long list of archive regulations, she had broken. Mina's stomach suddenly made a loud, embarrassing growl that echoed through the quiet chamber. Several aliens gasped. Some even covered their hearing organs. I'm sorry, Mina said, her face hot with shame. I haven't eaten in almost 30 hours. The room went completely silent. Even Judge Take stopped speaking and stared at her with awe, 4 eyes wide open. You announced a biological need in open court? He asked, his voice different now. I'm just hungry, Mina said, confused by the reaction. I didn't mean to be rude. Judge Tyke stood up slowly, his tall blue form towering over his platform. The other aliens watched him with what seemed like shock. "In all my years," he said quietly, "no one has ever spoken so honestly in this chamber." The silence in the chamber stretched uncomfortably as everyone stared at Mina. Her stomach growled again and she wished she could disappear. She didn't understand why admitting she was hungry had caused such a reaction. Judge Tyke's 4 silver eyes blinked slowly. His blue skin darkened around his neck. What Mina would later learn was the Araxian equivalent of blushing. "Court will take a brief recess," he announced, his deep voice sounding strangely uncertain. As soon as the judge left, the chamber erupted with whispers. Aliens of various shapes and colors turned to each other, gesturing with tentacles, claws, and hands. Many seemed disturbed. Mina caught snippets of translated conversation from nearby beings. The human spoke of consumption needs openly. How primitive. Absolutely inappropriate. Day, her defender, floated closer to Mina. The small alien's translucent skin now had a worried purple tinge. "That was very bad," Day whispered. Very bad." "What did I do wrong?" Mina asked. "I just said I was hungry." "In council culture, especially among Araxians, bodily functions are extremely private matters," Day explained quickly. "Mentioning hunger, thirst, or other needs in public is like removing all your clothes in your earth courts." Mina's eyes widened. "But that's ridiculous. Everyone eats." "Yes, but civilized beings don't talk about it," Day said. "Especially not in formal settings, not in front of a high judge." Ambassador Hana Kim approached them, her face showing concern. "Mina, I tried to signal you to stay quiet. The Araxians are particularly sensitive about these matters. They consider humans quite crude because we eat in public restaurants." "That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard," Mina said, then lowered her voice when several nearby aliens turned to stare. "Sorry, but I don't understand. They must get hungry too." "They do. But they would never admit it," Ambassador Kim explained. "Think of it as extreme Victorian manners. The more advanced a species is considered, the less they acknowledge biological needs." Day's body pulsed with worry. "This could affect your sentencing. Judge Tyke might view your outburst as deliberately disrespectful." Before they could say more, a side door opened. A small green alien with 6 arms approached with what looked like a metal box. He placed it on the floor near Mina and quickly backed away as if she were contagious. "What's this?" Mina asked. The alien wouldn't look at her directly. "The court extends permission for the human to address its biological requirement. Please do so quickly and privately." He scurried away. Mina looked at the box and realized it contained food, something that resembled fruit and bread, though with strange colors. "The judge sent this?" she asked, surprised. Ambassador Kim looked equally shocked. "This is unusual. Very unusual." "Should I eat it?" Mina whispered. "I would," the ambassador replied. "But try to be discreet." Mina knelt by the box and carefully took a piece of the purple bread-like substance. She turned away from the watching crowd and took a small bite. It tasted like sweet potato mixed with cinnamon. She was so hungry that it took all her willpower not to devour it all immediately. After she finished eating, the green alien returned to collect the box. He still wouldn't look directly at her. "The court will reconvene in 10 minutes, he announced. When Judge Tyke returned, the atmosphere in the chamber had changed. The judge seemed to study Mina with new interest. All 4 eyes focused intently on her face. "Human female," he began, then paused. "Mina Park, I have been consulting our xenobiology database. It appears there is limited information about human nutritional requirements." Mina wasn't sure how to respond. "We need to eat about 3 times a day, Your Honor." More whispers spread through the crowd. Judge Tyke raised a 6-fingered hand for silence. "The frequency is surprising," he said. "Araxians require sustenance once every 12 days. "That must be convenient," Mina said before she could stop herself. Instead of being offended, Judge Tyke made a strange sound, something between a cough and a click. Mina realized with shock that he might be laughing. "Indeed," he said. "Though perhaps it has made us inflexible in understanding other species' needs. The judge turned to address the court. I find myself questioning our approach to this case. If we do not understand basic human biology, perhaps we have also misunderstood her actions. Day floated nervously beside Mina. This is unprecedented, the defender whispered. He's reconsidering the case based on biological differences. The chamber doors suddenly burst open. A tall Araxian in elaborate robes strode in, flanked by guards. He looked like Judge Tyke, but older, with darker blue skin. This proceeding is irregular, the newcomer announced. I am Chief Justice An. This human trial will continue according to proper council protocols without accommodations for primitive biological displays. Judge Tyke stood straight, towering even over the other Araxian. With respect, Chief Justice, I believe we must reconsider our approach. The two blue giants stared at each other, and Mina suddenly understood she was witnessing something important, a cultural divide forming right before her eyes. The tension between Judge Tyke and Chief Justice An filled the chamber. The two towering blue Araxians stood perfectly still, their silver eyes locked in silent battle. Mina felt tiny between them, a human chess piece in an alien power struggle. The council has protocols for a reason, Chief Justice An said. His voice was deeper than Tyke's, with an edge that made Mina shiver. We do not change our ways for lesser species. Judge Tyke's four eyes narrowed slightly. Is seeking knowledge lesser, Chief Justice? Is hunger lesser? Or have we forgotten what it means to be curious, to need things? The crowd of aliens whispered among themselves. Many seemed shocked by Judge Tyke's words. Mina noticed some of the younger aliens nodding slightly. Chief Justice An's skin darkened with what Mina now recognized as anger. Judge Tyke, you will follow the traditional procedure or be removed from this case. I will follow truth wherever it leads, Judge Tyke replied calmly. Then he did something that made the entire chamber gasp. He stepped down from his high platform. No Araxian judge had ever left their platform during a trial. The elevated position was symbolic of their distance from base needs and emotions. By stepping down to floor level, Judge Tyke was breaking thousands of years of tradition. What are you doing? Chief Justice An demanded. Judge Tyke ignored him and walked slowly toward Mina. Up close, he was even more impressive. Nearly 9 feet tall, with skin that seemed to contain shifting patterns like deep ocean currents. Mina had to tilt her head back to look up at his face. Human Mina Park, he said, his voice softer now. You were searching for information about early contacts between humans and Araxians. Why? Mina swallowed hard. She could feel hundreds of alien eyes watching her. In my grandmother's village in Korea, there are ancient cave paintings that show blue giants with silver eyes who came from the sky. The paintings are over 10,000 years old. Our official history says humans and Araxians only met 60 years ago. I wanted to know the truth. Judge Tyke turned to face the watching crowd. The truth. Such a simple concept, yet so often buried beneath protocol and pride. He touched a control on his wrist, and suddenly the air above them filled with floating images, ancient cave paintings, stone carvings, and clay tablets from different worlds. These are artifacts from 17 different planets, he explained. All show similar figures, tall blue beings with multiple eyes. All date from thousands of years before official first contact with the Araxian Empire. Chief Justice An stepped forward. These are classified images. This is forbidden knowledge. Forbidden by whom? Judge Tyke asked. And why? What are we hiding, Chief Justice? The crowd was completely silent now. Even the translators had stopped humming. This human girl came seeking truth, Judge Tyke continued. She expressed hunger, both physical and intellectual. She showed no shame in her needs. And how did we respond? With detention, with judgment, with denial of basic comforts. He walked back to Mina and did something even more shocking than leaving his platform. He knelt down on one knee, bringing himself closer to her height. Mina Park of Earth, I owe you an apology, he said. You have been treated unjustly. Chief Justice An's voice boomed across the chamber. Judge Tyke, you will stand and return to your platform immediately. This behavior dishonors the entire Araxian judicial tradition. Judge Tyke rose slowly, but did not return to his platform. Instead, he faced the Chief Justice directly. Perhaps some traditions need dishonoring, he said. Perhaps some need questioning. With a gesture, he released Mina's restraints. The glowing blue bands around her wrists disappeared, and she rubbed her sore skin gratefully. This trial is suspended, Judge Tyke announced. The human will be treated as an honored guest while I conduct a full investigation into both her claims and our archives. Ambassador Kim stepped forward. Judge Tyke, while I appreciate your change of position, I must insist that Mina be released to Earth custody. Judge Tyke turned his silver eyes to the ambassador. With respect, Ambassador Kim, what if your government is also hiding truth? What if Earth leaders know more about our shared history than they admit? Mina looked between them, suddenly understanding the political complexities. Both Earth and the Araxians might have reasons to hide ancient contact. I want to stay, Mina said suddenly. Everyone turned to look at her. If Judge Tyke is willing to find the truth, I want to help. These are my ancestors in those cave paintings, too. Chief Justice An made a sharp gesture and his guards moved toward Judge Tyke. This proceeding is over. The human will be returned to detention while we review proper protocol. But something unexpected happened. Several younger Araxians in the audience stood up. Then more aliens of different species rose too. Soon half the chamber was standing in silent support of Judge Tyke. The Chief Justice looked around, his silver eyes widening slightly. He had lost the room. This isn't over, he said quietly to Judge Tyke. Then he turned and left the chamber, his robes swirling behind him. Judge Tyke turned back to Mina. Now, he said with what looked like a small smile, let us find some more suitable food for you while we begin our search for truth. The private research chamber deep within the Galactic Council archive was larger than Mina had expected. The circular room had walls lined with glowing data columns and floating screens. Judge Tyke stood at the central console, his tall blue form bent slightly as his 6 fingers moved quickly over the controls. 3 days had passed since the dramatic events in the courtroom. Mina had been given comfortable quarters and proper human food. More importantly, she had been granted access to archive sections normally forbidden to non-council members. I believe I've found something, Judge Tyke said. His voice had lost some of its formal stiffness over their days working together. Mina hurried over. On the screen was an ancient Araxian text, the strange flowing symbols slowly translating into Earth Standard. This is from the early exploration period, nearly 12,000 Earth years ago, Judge Tyke explained. It describes a scouting mission to a blue planet with abundant water and primitive life forms. Mina's heart beat faster. Earth? Yes. According to this record, a team of explorers spent 3 seasons observing early humans. They were specifically interested in your species' rapid development of language and tool use. But why hide this? Mina asked. Why pretend first contact was only 60 years ago? Judge Tyke's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. Something Mina had learned was a sign of deep thought among Araxians. That is what troubles me most, he admitted. There appears to be a deliberate effort to erase these early encounters from official history. Ambassador Kim entered the chamber, followed by Day. The ambassador looked tired but excited. We found something in the Earth archives too, she said. After Judge Tyke questioned me, I requested special access to sealed prehistoric records. She placed a small device on the console, and it projected an image of an ancient stone tablet, covered with primitive writing. This was discovered in Korea in 2031 but immediately classified, Ambassador Kim explained. The writing is Proto-Korean, but the content was considered too disturbing to release publicly. What does it say? Mina asked, studying the strange symbols. It's a warning, Ambassador Kim replied solemnly. It says, the sky gods with silver eyes came in peace but left in shame. They promised to return when both our peoples were ready. For truth. Judge Tyke went very still. Both our peoples ready for truth, he repeated slowly. So both sides have been hiding the past. He touched another control, and a new document appeared, This one looked official with the Galactic Council seal. "This is from the Council Formation Treaty, signed 3,000 years ago," he said. "There is a specific clause prohibiting contact with Earth until humans achieved spaceflight independently. It's signed by the first Araxian Emperor." "But why?" Mina asked. Judge Tack hesitated, then pressed a final control. A video recording appeared, so ancient it was grainy and distorted, but the images were clear enough to understand. The recording showed early Araxian explorers interacting with primitive humans. The humans were bowing, offering food and gifts. The Araxians were demonstrating simple technologies, making fire without tools, purifying water, creating light. "They were teaching us," Mina whispered in awe. "Yes," Judge Tyke said quietly. "And that violated the Prime Council directive." "The what?" Mina asked. "The oldest law in galactic society. Advanced species must not interfere with developing worlds." His voice had grown sad. "The penalty for violation is severe." The recording continued, showing a different scene. New Araxian ships arriving. The original explorers being taken away in restraints. The primitive humans watching in confusion and fear. "The exploration team was tried and punished for interference," Judge Take explained, "and a decree was issued that Earth would be isolated until humans advanced enough to join galactic society on their own. So both our histories were erased," Ambassador Kim said. "Earth governments classified their findings because they showed we weren't alone, and the Council hid the truth because it showed Araxians breaking their own most sacred law." Mina suddenly understood the enormity of what they'd discovered. "This changes everything. Our whole understanding of human development might be wrong." "Indeed," Judge Take agreed. "There are indications the Araxian visitors taught early humans about agriculture, medicine, and mathematics. Your species' rapid advancement may have been partly due to those early contacts." The door to the chamber slid open. Chief Justice An stood there with 4 armed guards. His face showed no emotion, but his skin had darkened to deep indigo. "Judge Tyke, you have accessed sealed Imperial records without authorization," he said coldly. "This human has corrupted you with her primitive curiosity." "No," Judge Tyke replied firmly. "She has reminded me of what curiosity means, of what seeking truth means." He straightened to his full height. "Will you continue hiding the past, Chief Justice? Or will you help us restore what was lost?" Chief Justice An stepped into the room, the guards following. For a moment, Mina feared they would be arrested, or worse. Then the Chief Justice did something unexpected. He touched his wrist. "Control," and the doors sealed shut. "Show me everything," he said quietly. "If we are to face this truth, I must see it all." Mina and Judge Tyke exchanged glances. Something momentous was happening, not just for them, but for human and Araxian history. A buried truth was finally emerging from darkness, like a long dormant seed finally reaching for light. The grand chamber of the Galactic Council was filled beyond capacity. Representatives from over 200 worlds crowded the circular tiers, their diverse forms creating a living rainbow of colors, textures, and shapes. At the center stood a simple platform where Mina waited, no longer in restraints but dressed in formal Earth diplomatic attire provided by Ambassador Kim. 1 week had passed since the discovery of the ancient records. 1 week of intense discussions, heated debates, and careful planning. Now everything would be decided. The massive doors swung open. Judge Tyke entered, followed by Chief Justice An and 7 other Araxian elders. They wore ceremonial robes of deep purple, the color of truth in Araxian culture. Mina noticed that Judge Tyke walked beside the others, not behind them as tradition would dictate. "This special session of the Grand Council is now open," announced a mechanical voice. "Today we address matter SC-7293, the Human Truth Petition." Chief Justice An stepped forward. His face showed the strain of the past week, but his voice remained strong. "Honored representatives," he began, "for 3,000 years, the Galactic Council has maintained what we believed was the proper order of development among species. We have hidden certain facts about our shared histories. Today we must decide if that policy continues." He gestured toward Mina. "This human youth, through simple hunger, both physical and intellectual, has exposed a truth we have buried for millennia. The Araxian Empire had contact with Earth long before official records state. We shared knowledge, we influenced human development, and then we erased that connection from history. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some aliens looked shocked. Others nodded as if confirming long-held suspicions. Judge Tyke moved to stand beside Mina. What began as a simple archive violation case has revealed something profound: our fear of acknowledging the past. Just as we hide our biological needs behind ceremony, we have hidden historical truths behind policy. A representative from the Vorn Collective, a species of crystalline beings, rose from their seat. If this is true, how many other historical connections have been erased? How many other species have had their true histories hidden? The question hung in the air. Mina could feel the tension building in the room. Chief Justice An raised his six-fingered hands. That is precisely why we are here today. The Araxian Judicial Council proposes a complete revision of historical records. All sealed archives will be opened. All contact histories will be restored. The truth, however uncomfortable, will be available to all member worlds. An uproar followed this announcement. Some representatives shouted approval while others warned of chaos. In the midst of the noise, Mina felt Judge Tech's light touch on her shoulder. "Your turn," he said quietly. Mina stepped forward. She had rehearsed what to say, but looking at the vast assembly of alien beings, she decided to speak from her heart instead. "I'm just a student," she began. Her voice sounded small at first, then grew stronger as the translation system amplified it. "I came to learn about other worlds because humans are curious. We want to know where we came from and where we're going. Now I understand that our past is connected to yours in ways we never knew." She looked up at Judge Tak, then back to the assembly. When I said I was hungry in court, Judge Tak could have ignored it. Instead, he recognized something important, that acknowledging our needs doesn't make us weak. It makes us honest. Hiding the truth about our shared history hasn't made us stronger. It's kept us apart. A silent moment followed her words. Then, from the upper tier, an elderly human man stood up. Professor Lee, Earth's senior xenohistorian. "As Earth's representative to the Historical Council," he said, "I must inform this assembly that Earth governments have also hidden evidence of early contact. We too must face this truth and open our sealed archives." Chief Justice An nodded, slowly. "Then we are agreed. The time for hiding is over." He turned to address Mina directly. "Human Mina Park, this council finds you not guilty of any violation. Instead, we thank you for your hunger, for food, for knowledge, for truth. You have changed the course of galactic history by simply being human." Judge Tyke stepped forward. "I request permission to establish a new council division, the Joint Historical Restoration Project. Its mission will be to recover and share all hidden histories between species, and I nominate Mina Park as its first honorary member." Chief Justice An's skin lightened to a shade Mina had never seen before, almost white-blue, which she later learned signified profound respect. "Permission granted," he said. As the chamber erupted in approval, Mina felt tears in her eyes. Her simple school project had turned into something she could never have imagined, because she got hungry in a courtroom, because she asked questions, because she was human. Later, as the formal ceremony ended, Judge Tyke approached her privately. "There is an old Araxian saying," he told her. "The path to wisdom begins with acknowledging what we need." He made the strange clicking sound that was his laugh. "It seems humans understood this long before we did. Maybe that's why your ancestors visited Earth," Mina suggested. "Maybe they were hungry for something too." "Yes," Judge Tyke agreed, his four eyes shining with something like wonder. "Perhaps they were hungry for the reminder of what it means to be truly alive." As Mina prepared to return to Earth, now as a diplomatic liaison rather than a student, she realized that hunger, whether for food, knowledge, or connection, wasn't something to hide. It was the force that drove all living beings forward into discovery. And that was a truth worth revealing. Retry Claude can make mistakes. Please. Double-check responses.